Cabin in the Woods is a very cleverly designed horror film. On first appearance, it seems like a cliche, typical horror, but upon watching the film and discovering what it really incorporates, you understand truly that it is, in fact, almost a love letter to the theme of horror, while also making fun of the common cliches seen in the horror genre. The film follows a group of friends as they go on a trip to visit a cabin in the woods. Although the story digs much deeper by playing onto the general stereotypes of teenagers in horror while also looking at how we as the audience perceive horror. All of the characters fall into a certain stereotype. These stereotypes are the whore, who is Jules, the scholar, who is Holden, the athlete, who is Kurt, the fool, who is Marty, the virgin, who is Dana. When you first watch the film, at the beginning you think these are just the general stereotypes that we always see, but upon further analysis of the film you understand that these characters are used as sacrifices for the gods. I myself think that the gods represent us as an audience. The scientists are the creators of these horror films. They try to give us blood and gore and cater for our needs. But over the years, it becomes harder and harder for us to get the blood and gore and for that to have an impact on us. This symbolises desensitization. The film also uses different theories. Take, for example, Levi Strauss's binary opposites, where we see the dark and the light. Also, it uses the last girl, as we can see Dana, who is the virgin of the piece, is the last girl left. We could also apply props narrative theory to this piece. As certain characters follow the character list in which you created, Kurt could be seen as the hero and Jules could be seen as a princess. But this film doesn't play to that theory as such. It hints at it at the beginning, but turns it on its side so that we as the audience can see how this theory has been played out. Another idea from the film that I think is symbolic of the horror genre is the monsters that the scientists create. We can see werewolves, vampires, etc. It kind of shows how the scientists are the horror developers and they are trying to create these monsters to create fear, but over time these monsters become too played out. And as audience changes, as do the monsters change. I really enjoy this film as I think it gives a new spin to horror. It doesn't simply just play along to the things that we've seen in horror in the past. It adds onto it by taking those on board but turning it on its side and creating something unexpected. We as the viewer are drawn in from the very first scene where we see the scientists to the next scene where we see these kids. How do they link? What's going to happen in the story and how is the development going to take place? These are the questions in which we ask ourselves. This is why I think this film is very clever. It does not simply create a villain and a hero, it questions the underlying problems with the genre of horror, while also looking at all the great things of the horror genre.